Hi everyone, my name is Ken. Welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Bley. So welcome, man.
Hi, thank you.
So
Sorry for the mess. That is me.
yeah, it's all good, man. You're an EP chaos person, so it is what it is. SI last, right? So you got like SI tidal waves right before the interview started.
You calling me out?
Is that just it's not you. It's not just you. Like I interview EPs and with SI last, and they before the interview starts, their Zoom's not working, their microphone's not working, their camera's not working. So there's always some kind of like problem with the EPs, right? So
Here's the thing, is that I was dyeing my sister's hair 5 different colors right before I came to do this. I'm not even a hairdresser, but I've been doing her hair since I was like 13 for shits and gigs. And so, that's a part of it, is that I also, Pacific Standard Time and time in general as a concept as a whole is rather just a weird thing to interact with as a human being. So that's my opinion on that. But but yeah, I was dyeing her hair, so I lost track of it. And also, I didn't know when Pacific Standard Time, like, I think I told Alexa to do her job well and to tell me when it was going to start. And then she just decided to be incompetent. So I honestly, it's me to blame, but I'm obviously trying to blame everything else. So go on.
yeah, that's very double decider of you. But what is your official type? Can you give us your full official type?
Ne-Ti savior, feminine Ne, and then masculine Ti, and then it's consume, play, and then blast, and then sleep last. I don't know how to say it. I don't know anything, honestly, as a human being, but yeah.
So when they type you're masculine feminine, you're not feminine masculine? Because
Well, that's confusing to me because Ne is technically my first function and it is a feminine. They said it's feminine Ne, so. And then, is that how it works? Why do you keep making that face? The fuck? What am I getting wrong here? Can you just be brutally, come on, like, what am I missing?
No. That if you have feminine NE, it doesn't matter because that, like, okay. I don't know. It does seem you're visual though, because you're like very big into like dyeing the hair, like you're looking at like the facial expression I'm making, like everything's visual to you, right? Like, are you more visual or are you more auditory? Would you say?
Well, in school, what's funny is that in school I was usually the most verbose child in the class. So in class, people would expect me to ask questions. They would, in fact, just like even rely on it. They would be like, the teacher would be like, because I went to a really weird ass school, like with like 5 other girls, but there was periods of time when there was way more people in the class. But in general, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, they would just rely on me to talk and rely on me to ask questions, but I would say I'm visual. I mean, I'm a photographer, so that's a hard question because I love words. I write poetry. I'm a writer, and I love public speaking. So I don't know.
No, it has nothing to do with speaking. It's how you take in things. So like,
Oh, how I think. Yeah, that's the thing, is that I have a very strong internal monologue. But at the same time, it's paired with a really strong visual sense. So that's why it's a hard question for me, because it's both and more rather than,
like for example, if you're masculine feminine, people with masculine feminine, they usually have very bad visualization. Like they can't see shit when they visualize something. But people who
Oh,
are,
no, girl. No, it's the opposite for me.
so you're really good at visual, like you can really visualize.
No, yeah, I want to be, I mean, I'm a script writer, so I'm writing scripts, in fact, because, I live in my imagination, and yes, so, who knows? That could be psychosis, but.
So you can see images in your head, pictures, like very vivid.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I live in my head. Sometimes it's hard for me to even tell what's real, what's not visually, because my imagination is so vivid.
Okay. Well, that probably means you're visual. Then you're not auditory. You're like a.
Yeah, that's true. It's just that in school, my learning style technically was auditory, and that's what helped me learn math. And I guess that's where my mind went. So my mind went, in terms of learning styles, I am pretty auditory, verbose, language arts. But I guess you're right in terms of thinking. Because I remember watching this TED Talk of this one, I think there was this lesbian cowboy bitch, and I liked her. She was really cool. And she was talking about, like, I can't remember. She was just talking about, like, if you say a word, what flips through your head. And to me, it's usually the word spelled out, not the images of the word. So that's why it's a confusing question to me. But I would say I'm very visually, yeah.
Are you like kinesthetic wise too? Because like if you're masculine and feminine, you'd be very kinesthetic, right? Like, you know, like you're gonna be pretty like punchy when it comes to physical objects, you know? Like are you very punchy
Yeah.
with physical
Oh my
objects,
God.
or are you more of a tester, you know, someone that likes to experiment, like try different things out, you know?
I'm definitely a dancer. I mean, I am very aggressive, both in every way. You know, I'm looking into going into martial arts, for example, because, yeah, I would say I'm very punchy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, people don't fuck with me. I mean, but I live in Washington Heights, like in Inwood, so
um,
in New York. Yeah.
you live in New York, you said?
Yeah, in New York, in Washington Heights. Sorry, I've become one of those people that just assumes everyone knows their neighborhood like an idiot. No, it's just a part of New York that's a bit more dangerous, and so you know you have to you kind of have to be aggressive in the streets.
Oh, okay, okay. So it's like
But I am aggressive. I am I lived in I lived in Hawaii for 7 years, and I did not fit in there in terms of aggression.
yeah, you're not a surfer person. You're like more like you're not.
Oh,
Like,
girl, no. Oh my God, I don't do well in customer service at all. At all. Oh my gosh, no.
you're too aggressive with people. Is that why?
Way too. Yeah. Yes, but the thing is, it's like, get out of my face. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is. I'm trying to work on it. But you would think that I grew up in a place where aggression was the norm and it was like celebrated. But I grew up in a very conservative environment where aggression, it's always bring it back to Jesus, or, or stop fucking swearing, you stupid bitch, and stuff like that, So.
It could be like a North American thing. I think if you live in a different country, you could get away with like, just being aggressive and it's okay.
Well, I'm from Brazil, so I grew up in Brazil until I was 14. And so.
You're Brazilian?
Yes, I'm very Brazilian. I'm 7th generation Brazilian. Yeah, I grew up in Brazil. I moved to Hawaii because my parents have a very fun job. And so I grew up in the Amazon region of Brazil, which is also a reason why I would say I'm very aggressive. Like my friends in New York even are always like, stop climbing the trees. And I'm like, shut up.
You grew up in Manaus or something, or what?
No, in Porto Velho, which is like across the river from there. But good job on you. Not a lot of people know about Manaus, which is a hell city. I hate Manaus, but anyway.
Yeah, because I went to Manaus and Boa Vista before, so.
Oh, wow. You went to Manaus? That's fucking random as shit.
I know, it's very random. I wasn't going there to go there. I was going there to go to Venezuela because I was trying to cross over.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, that's a long story. So talk about being an EP. You're a chaos monkey, supposedly. Like, you're just pure chaos. Talk about, like, you being really comfortable with chaos.
I don't know. People say that. And the thing is like, of course, my, what's it called? Peacock ass. Like, my peacock mind is like, no, I love control. And it's, because in my mind, I hate, for example, stimulation. Like, I run away from stimulation. I hate concerts. I hate anything that is loud. I hate crowds. I hate, protests, not for what they stand for, but just the loudness of it. I hate anything that's just loud. And so I try to, I stay in my room that's like, my entire bed is black. Everything's black. Like, it's cold as hell. And there's just no stimulation at all. So, it's weird. But I'm not saying I equate chaos with stimulation. I would say chaos may be intellectual chaos. Maybe I don't like people feeling comfortable in the way they think because it's usually wrong.
Got it. And talk about your fear of being controlled or being told what to do. Like the "don't control me, bro" syndrome.
Well, I had, I grew up in the thing is that it really depends, because I would say as a teenager, there was a point in my life where I sort of went like, I have to analyze why these rules aren't in place, and then analyze which rules are for my benefit and which rules are just there because of archaic mentalities and paradigms. And so I really took a step back as like a 14-year-old, 15-year-old, and I really analyzed, you know, what is the truth about the rules that are being thrust upon me in this conservative Christian environment, and what is the truth of, you know, and then I just came to the conclusion, actions have consequences, and all these conclusions that really kept me from doing anything too rebellious as a teenager. So I really didn't, you know, smoke weed, party, anything at all, ever, until I was like 22. And I'm 24 now. So, you know, 22, so it's like 20 years of being completely holy. So not holy, but in terms of like, I really just, yeah, I have a hard time doing things because I'm told to do them, sure. But when I determine a rule is for my benefit, I'm going to follow it.
Got it. And then you're also a double decider, so you're balanced with self and tribe. So talk about like, you know, being able to see the tribe's perspective and your perspective, and you can kind of like, you know, juggle back and forth.
The tribe and I have a very complicated relationship. Let me think. Well, sort of, I took this also when I was younger. I really took time to think about my role in, you know, the world. And I see the world a lot in terms of storytelling. And a very interesting thing to me is villains and Disney villains. And to me, the person that is vilified, I'm not the kind of person to be like, oh, but they had a great backstory, so let's forgive all the fucked up shit they did. I'm not saying that, but I just love the aesthetic of that the villains presented, and even that the villains seem to me way more dimension, like have a stronger dimension than the protagonists. And so I sort of took on this villain aspect very early on in my life. Like just started making all my usernames Villain Town and things like that. And just decided that if you're going to vilify me for being a rational person, then I'm going to vilify myself first. And then you have nothing to complain about because you knew what you're getting. So I don't know if that's fucked up, but that's kind of the way I go about it. And I also wear a lot of skulls and things like that because I love when something is so seen as so disgusting or nasty, but there's so much beauty to it. If you just stop and look. I'm just kidding. Not that cheesy, but I don't know.
Talk about being an info dominant person. So is having the most accurate information important to you?
Accuracy is I have a complicated relationship with that word because I feel like a lot of TE people believe it to be the thing with the most amount of statistics, the thing that the most amount of people are saying, the thing, you know, but as an iconoclast, I tend to naturally just determine what everybody else is saying is wrong. And then I have to take a step back even from then and then like determine for myself whether it actually is wrong. So I have to stop. What was the question?
We're talking about info dominant. So like, let's say.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking info dominant. Yeah. So like I take in information from everything. And then my immediate reaction to information I noticed from a very young age is to be critical of it and to be like, no, bitch, that's not true, bitch. Like, I don't know what's wrong with my mind, where if somebody tells me something, I'm like, let's see. And so I think it's a lot of work to take in information. All that to say, it takes me a lot of work, and it depends on the kind of information. If somebody randomly wants to show me a video on their phone, that's like stabbing me in the face. I don't want to fucking see your fucking video on your fucking phone, like ever. Send it to your grandma. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see your baby. I don't want to see any of that bullshit. And so it's like, yeah, but it's information that I want. It's information that I care about, and it's information that pertains to what matters.
You are NT first, but you don't come across as very NT at all. So talk about being NT first.
I think I come across as very NT because I have no friends. Just kidding. But because, I don't know. Shan said I play the value game really well when she was typing me. She said that I, you know, because as a Brazilian, I was raised very expressive. But also I'm an aspiring actor, so I have a very expressive nature to me. But in person, I am sort of, I check out in normal like I don't, unless we're talking about something that I care about, it's, you know, I have a really hard time making friends because it's all just so, it's hard for me to like not fight the feeling that everything's futile. I don't know if that makes anything to do with being an NT, but in like my friends really do get frustrated at my like urgency of like solving future problems all the time. So.
I think if you have trouble making friends, it's probably because you're just really aggressive with the tribe. I think that's probably it. I don't think it has anything to do with the NT stuff because I'm NT. I have like shitload of friends, right? So
I have I wouldn't say I have issues making friends. I have issues making certain kinds of friends. Because I have no issues making friends that are like me, which I'm thankful for in New York because there's a lot of people like me who are artistic and yeah. But I don't know. Like you know that I'm balanced in the tribe friends nonsense. Like my brother is probably FI dominant, and he's always like, everybody hates me, and I'm like, calm down.
you know what? That's awesome that you grew up in such an expressive culture, you know, Brazil. Because like, I feel like when I traveled in South America, going to those different South American countries, I was like, wow, this is like the opposite of my culture. You know, I'm Asian, and Asian people, you're supposed to be very contained, right? So it's like the opposite of like South American, you're just kind of having a verbal diarrhea all the time, like expressing all your feelings, just like outwardly,
Yep.
with no care. And I really think that's so awesome. Like there's no, you know, you get like emotional blockage when you don't get a chance to express your feelings, right? But then
Yeah.
for you guys, you're just like, oh yeah, that's like promoted, that's like encouraged, you know.
Yep. Yeah, I guess it's a matter of like, but it's a matter of expectancy too, because if people expect that from you, so if you're there and you decide not to be that way, you will be ostracized because people will be like, well, this person doesn't give a shit about anything, and I'm not going to give them anything because they don't give a fuck, and you just, you know, you turn into a pariah.
Yeah, I remember when I was in Venezuela, like they thought it was weird that I couldn't like just go crazy with like, you know, feeling expression, and I was like, I feel so constrained. It just won't come out, you know. Like so, I thought
Yeah.
it was so interesting. Um, you have sleep last, so do you have any? Do you get health issues? Like, do you crash because you don't get enough time to rest? You know, because you're always go 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 go. Would you say?
That's what's funny is that I'm very no. I'd like, you know, 90% of my life is in my room, so that's what's weird about it. I do take sleeping medication, and I've been on it for a year because I've never been able to sleep. I've been an insomniac my whole life. I don't know if that directly correlates, but yeah, I've never ever been able to sleep, ever, a wink in my life. But even as a teenager, I never felt the need to go out. I don't like going out much, like, or yeah, like I said, I hate stimulation, so I look to run away from that. It could be, you know, I do have OCD and I do have ADHD, so those two things come into play. So I don't know. I just know that I've always felt like I'm really slow, so
Yeah, I think that's like the weird paradox, you know, like as an EP, you like to stay at home, right? Because I'm an EP and I'm home all the time. But I'm
yeah.
kind of extreme. I'm either like I'm home 90% of the time, and then the last 10 or 5%, like I'm traveling all over the world, right? So it's like a weird.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did just come back from Austin, and I've lived in a lot of places because people are always like, "How'd you live so many places?" And I'm like, I just lived there in Switzerland, and then in Cairo, and then in Hawaii, and then in LA. I just did
Wow.
it. I don't know, like.
How did you end up in those places?
Well, to be honest, my parents' mission and organization helped a lot with that.
Okay.
But also, it was a personal decision. Well, it wasn't like anything was paid for. I actually had to fundraise for wherever I lived. But I decided to take a year abroad and volunteer after high school. And so that was a part of it. But also, my parents, you know, my mom's a linguist and she's traveled a lot. And so they took us everywhere. And I ended up living in Barbados and Norway as a child and all these places. So
You have play and blast together, so you have that like play blast crackhead syndrome. Talk about being like a play blast like crackhead person, you know?
Crackhead.
Like with like
I
energy, you know, like you get like really, you get really manic because I'm play blast and I get super manic, right? You know?
Manic. I don't know. Energy wise, my family has always described me as the most consistent, but my brother has bipolar disorder. So, you know, he struggles with that. And in terms of like, because that's why I see mania very specifically. So maybe that's why.
What about the way you behave? Because for me, for example, like I go into stages where I'm like I just go absolutely like play blast crackhead, like I'm overwhelming everyone because I'm so energetic, and then
Oh,
and then I crash, and then I crash, you know?
I see. Oh, yeah. No, well, yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's weird. Maybe it's because I surround myself with everyone that's also a crackhead. So
Okay.
I just don't feel like a crackhead because everybody around me is a crackhead. I'm pretty sure my mom's a crackhead. My sister's a crackhead. My sister's NETE. I don't know. She's fucking in just as much as energy as me. And then all of my other friends, like I have no one in my life that's like a slow paced
Oh,
fucking person.
you have no mope friends, eh? Like the super sleepy.
Yeah, I think they've all ran away by now.
You overwhelm all of them already.
Yeah, they're gone, bitch.
Yeah. You have
But
double.
yeah, maybe that's why I don't feel as. But in terms of crashes, I feel like I've been crashing for 2 years now, so I'm sick of crashing.
Yeah. You have double activated FE, so you really like, even though you're self above tribe, you do a lot of stuff with the tribes. Talk about that.
I have a hard time with them as a people. And I don't know. I feel like my fear/hate of the tribe is why I've kept myself from doing a lot of things that I actually want to do. Like I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I want to do more stand-up. I want to do all these things, but I am so misanthropic, or at least I've convinced myself that I'm misanthropic, that I have to be Willy Wonka, like locked in my cage, and you know, because people are too stupid to get me, or whatever the fuck I've come up with. So I don't know. But at the same time, my mom said, oh, why are you everyone's go-to person, when they fall back and have a crash and are like dying, or not dying, that was a harsh word. When they're like crashing, why are you the person that people call? Not to toot my own horn, but I never saw myself that way until people started pouring it out. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I know Myers-Briggs.
Yeah. You have SF Blast. What is SF Blast for you?
Blast?
Yeah,
Or
and
last?
your blast is also SF. So like,
Yeah.
what's cool, right? Like what's popular.
Yeah. Sorry, it cut out. I didn't hear you very well. I don't know, man. I was typed very recently, so I haven't thought very much about the things. Let me think about it. People do, like, I'm wearing a robe, I'm wearing a kimono. I just wear what I want. I wear a lot of black skirts. I wear a lot of black. My closet is very cohesive. I actually hate what's popular. At least I think I do. Well, TikTok, Supreme, I hate brands. Like, yeah, I reject it. So I don't know. It's something I have to think about, I think.
Well, it's coming from a point of extroversion, right? So like, let's say you look at someone and they're wearing a specific outfit and you don't like it, then you're gonna like tell them, hey, that's fucking ugly, that's like,
I figured I wanted to avoid that habit. Just kidding. Yeah. Well, in high school, I did tend to be a lot more like that. Like people would walk by, but it was a bit worse than that. I would be like with a group of friends, and someone would walk by with like ugly ass moccasins, and I'd be like, "Oh my god, I love your moccasins." And then she'd walk away, and then all my friends would laugh because they knew I was being a horrible person. And I've grown out of a lot of that.
Yeah.
But okay, there are certain people and certain things. If I see a straight white boy, and he's in some gray ass sweatpants in some ass fucking fancy ass restaurant, and he's in my group of friends, I will fucking say something. I'll be like, what the hell are you doing? You know, dressing well is a form of good fucking manners. You go home and change, or you don't go out, like, period. And people in my house call me the fashion police, because they're not going to go out of the house looking like a fucking goddamn slob. In my house, no, man. No, because no. You just are not allowed. That's rude. You're not gonna look like you fucking just ate 7 salami sandwiches and binged 3 Netflix series and then called your grandmother crying and then walk out of the house. Period. That's disgusting. No.
There you go, man. That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. That's like the best SF blast I've heard from.
That was just me being me. Like, no, I'm genuine. That's
it is your type, but you just demonstrate exactly what it is. That's like the most accurate depiction of SF blast, you know.
It pisses me off. The fucking nerve to walk out in some goddamn Crocs, Post Malone. The hell you doing? You have millions of goddamn dollars. You're walking out in Crocs and sweatpants. Can you go home? Go home. You look like a walking gas station. I'm over it.
My girlfriend's beside me. She loves you.
Oh, good. They say I'm like evil Jonathan, which I find kind of rude, because Jonathan is, you know, I find him very vapid. He's a great person, but the content is vapid. And so that's why I'm like, am I evil Jonathan?
No, man.
From Queer Eye.
What I like about you is that you're just you, you know. There's like you're not trying to pretend to be somebody.
There's no point. There's literally no point. You like me or don't. Like, there's no fucking point. It's a 50-50 here, bitch. Why are we got to play this game? There's really no reason to play a game. It's a 50-50. You like me or don't. You spend time with me or don't. Period.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for authenticity, and I think this is like, you are authentic. You know, like you are. You know.
Thank you.
So, talk about what your NF play is. Like, you like to talk about like energies and like personal development and growth. Like when you're talking to the tribe and you're bouncing off the tribe, you're like, yeah, I want to be like a better person. I want to help the world. I want to make the world a better place. Do you like to have those kind of conversations with people?
And stab them all. No, I think saving the world's a bit beyond me, to be honest. And like I said before, I take more of an anti-hero role. So I really just take the role of an antagonist if I can. Even in like movies and stuff, like I mostly audition to play a villain, because I don't want to play no goddamn good guy. The hell? That's a lot of pressure. Ew. No.
You have SP sleep. What is SP sleep? So it's like, so other ENTPs told me their SP sleep is like this. They think about like what they're gonna do, you know, for the day. They're like, I'm gonna do this and then this and this, and this is like the steps I'm gonna do. So do you find yourself doing that all the time?
Before I sleep?
Yeah, your SP sleep, like when you process like what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, so like I said, I probably have a fucking sleeping disorder. I've been looking into going to a sleep clinic, but how do you even go about that? Anyway, non-topic. So I have a sleeping disorder. Before I sleep, it's just like my mind is racing into a million different things. Absolutely what's going to happen the next day. And things haven't been necessarily looking up with the current times. So it happens that, you know, there's a lot of anxiety. So it's not necessarily a great thing. But it's weird because I've always had such a struggle with sleep, because it's something you can't control. Like, you can't necessarily choose it. It has to choose you, and it goes when it wants. And so that in and of itself freaks me out. Like, fuck you, sleep. The hell? How dare you?
I have the same problem as you. I'm sleep last, right? Sleeping is a nightmare for me. I just can't. It's so hard.
Yes. Yeah.
It's so annoying. I just wish, like, rarely do I get that like deep sleep. It's like it doesn't happen.
Right. Right. And even when I am sleeping, I might as well not be, because anybody touching, like, literally I will wake up with the sound of someone walking. I will wake up with, you know, and I live in New York City, like, fucking right outside my window, some goddamn bitch screaming. So I'll wake up, or any idiot.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that. I wake up super easily too. I hate it. It's so annoying, you know?
Yeah. Always. Like, I hope that I get to the place in the future where I can, like, literally plug my brain out or whatever. Like, press a fucking button. That's what I want. I want a button, a sleep button. Ugh.
You can just get someone to club you in the head, you know, like.
Exactly. No, it sounds wonderful, honestly. You're joking, but girl, do it. I'm here.
Someone, it's funny. Someone watches this interview. They come to your place with a chloroform and like.
I live at.
I can see you not resisting. You're like, yeah, do it. You know, like.
Fucking do it. Well, I live in apartment.
Yeah, you're even telling the apartment.
No, that'd be super exciting. I mean, all I watch is crime drama. So crime. I don't know. That's the thing. Right before I sleep, I watch like the most darkest thing for some reason. And that helps me sleep. Like, you know, the serial killer stuff or like some horror movie or something.
You are, because you're an EP, you have problem with things, not people. So things is gonna be your biggest problem. And even earlier when you went on that big tribe rant about their outfit, you know, if they wear a sweatpants in a fancy restaurant, right? So talk about your things problem. Like, how does things, like, you know, what kind of things problem do you have that like trips you up, you know?
Well, I think I mentioned before, I have a huge issue with stimulation. Just a lot of sound, and I hate heat. I absolutely hate heat. What's the fucking point? Oh my God. Like, you walk outside, you're covered in fucking sweat. The fuck is the point? That's why people are like, why did you move to New York? It's so fucking cold. I'm like, bitch, I'm there. I will eat Elsa out. I don't care. I love the cold. Anyway, sorry. I hate heat. Hate it. And so that's a sensory problem, I think. And cleaning my room. God damn it. What's my issue? I'm fucking 24. I need to clean I did it though 2 days ago, and now I already need to do it again. Anyway, so that's another one. But stimulation. I hate museums. You know, there's too much to absorb. Way too much to absorb in a grocery store. Like, what the fuck? I have to absorb all this at once. Way too much. I'm already tired. Get me out of here.
What about if it's a science museum?
Maybe it's the ADHD. I just cannot focus, and then all of a sudden, and there's just so much, and I'm like, it's all great, but I'm tired. Get me out. So it's like, here's the thing, is also I have a huge issue. Like, I have OCD, so there are certain sensory, like, I feel like it's sort of broken SI in a weird way, where, you know, things shouldn't bother me as much as it does, you know, as much as having a fucking panic attack or whatever stupid shit my brain comes up with. I do smoke a lot of weed for the stimulation, and that has helped a lot living in New York City, because it's just so much stimulation, and the cannabis just, you know, really just balances my endocannabinoid system and helps me out with that. And I've looked into the science behind it a lot, and, you know, getting the right terpenes, eating mangoes, all has to do with balancing out how much you smoke and like when you do it. So in terms of sensory, I really feel like I have to come home to my dark, cold room, hide in the black of the covers and smoke, and then I'll be fine.
I do something similar to you, not with the smoking weed thing, but I do like to have like a very dark room, you know, and just hide there because the sensory overwhelms me, you know. So I just need to kind of like decompress.
Yeah, warm showers. Oh my God, I take a hot shower like 5 times a day.
You know, it's funny because you definitely do have the play blast crackhead syndrome like that I do. I've only tried weed once, or I mean not once. I've only gotten high once. I've tried it like maybe 5 times, but like I remember I went to work once after I smoked, and it was the first time in my life where I was able to talk normally. It was kind of like shocking to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm talking normally. Like this must be what it feels like to be a normal person, you know? You know, that's
Get into it. It's true. Listen, I'm all for it. And there's a lot of great science behind all of that. I mean, my mom will be like, why are you telling people this on the internet? The FBI is going to come to your house. You're going to die. And I'm like, you know, it's very decriminalized. Chill out. Like,
wait, it's not legalized in New York yet?
No, nearly.
Because
Nearly.
in Canada, the whole Canada is legal now. You can just go to a store and buy it.
Yeah. So you're in Canada.
Yeah, I live in Vancouver, but even if I go down to Washington in Seattle, it's legal there. You can just go to a store and just buy it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but in New York, like the cops watch me pick up, so it's like it's decriminalized. But it's still illegal.
Okay.
Kind of. I don't know how it works. I just know that it's like low key fine. I'm such an idiot.
Yeah. I have last two questions for you, and we'll wrap the interview. Okay. So the first one is, what advice can you give to other EPs who has trouble with like their SI, using their SI? What do you think they should do to work on that?
Did you asking me?
I'm asking your opinion. Yeah.
Me?
This
Don't be like.
This should be good.
That's my advice. Just don't be like Bley.
Yeah, don't be like Bley. Yeah, do the opposite.
No, I mean, I have no advice on S. To be honest, dress well. Just don't look like a fucking slob. Doesn't matter where you're from. I don't give a shit if you're from America. Just don't look like a slob. Ew.
Okay,
that's my advice.
That's a good advice. And then, do you have any questions for me about what FI and T is, or like other functions that you don't have?
Oh God, I unfortunately am so surrounded by those bullshits. I love it. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I feel like I have a lot more FITE in my life than I do any other function, because it's like, why is it so abundant? Like, calm down. Let me think. I do have a question for you. So you're from Vancouver.
Yeah.
And you interview everyone that gets typed?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and everyone will be able to watch this?
Yeah.
I don't know how anything works. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm literally an idiot, like certified. So. Yeah,
no, it's okay. I got that you're new.
The problem is that I started watching Dave in 2011, so I'm not even necessarily new.
Oh, okay.
And I've been like in the Facebook group for a minute or two, and I'm just like uninvolved. I'm like, I'll come in and I'll like see what I want. Oh, they typed this person. Oh, whatever. And then I'll go and I'll live my life, and then I think for the most part I talk to Dave and Chan like directly. And I listen to their videos. So I talk to Shan mostly. And when I have a question about their videos, and then, yeah, so that's most of it.
You know what, man? I don't really like, it doesn't matter to me if the person's new or not. If they have something, if they can demonstrate like a good example of something, that to me is like gold already. And I think your SF blast was like the most gold I've seen from an ENTP. So I was like, yeah, you know what? It's great. It's fantastic. It's.
Ooh, I rant a lot, just so.
Yeah, but it was good. It came straight from the heart. The rant came straight from the heart, and
from hellfire is where it came. And I'm serious. It's on site. Like, do not show up to my house looking like a goddamn slob. That is inappropriate. Amen.
And if they come, they should better have a chloroform ready to drug you.
Period. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna call the police anyway.
Yeah.
So I had another question. Did I? I think I did, and then it just left, and I guess now it's there in the space where questions go.
Yeah. What you had another question?
I did, but like I said, it left earlier in our tale. I did say that, and now I can't find it. So
yeah,
I guess we'll move on.
Yeah, it's all good, man. All right, dude, thanks for doing the interview. We'll wrap this up from here. So bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thanks for coming out.